In this video we're going to look at a lot of simple text formulas that will make your life easier if you have to work with text, whether you either have to take it apart or put it back together. The functions we will look at is the left function, the right function, the mid function, the find function, the length function, the trim function, the text function, and the concatenate function. It does seem like quite a mouthful and quite a lot to go through, but you will see that these text formulas are very simple to use and quite intuitive. So on the screen here I've got a name, Kyle Peters. So let's look at our first function is left. So if I type in left, the function first input is the text. So you click on Kyle Peters and comma. So the left means how many characters from the left do you want to see. So if I put in 4 characters now, I will get the name Kyle. If I put any other number in, you'll just see more of it. So if I put in 5 or 6 in there, you'll get a few more characters. So that's as simple as that. So the left function simply returns the left characters of a longer text. The right function works in the opposite direction. So if I put in the right of the name and I say give me the right, say 6 characters. Now what happens here, you were expecting to get Peters, but we got TERS. That's not a mistake. I will explain that in just a while. But if I make this 8 characters, I'll get the surname. So that's left and right. So left means left characters, right means the right characters. And you might have guessed the mid function, which is next. So if I say give me the mid function, the mid function's got one extra input into the formula. First you're going to select the text, then you're going to say where do you want to start. So I'll start at character 3, and the next is how many characters you're looking for. So I'll bring in say 5, and what this means is look at the 3, start at character 3 and bring 5 characters back. So that if you want the middle portion of any bit of text. So that's the left, the right, and the mid. The next function I want to look at here is the find function. So if I put in find, again, first now, what do we want to find? So I'm going to type this out, but what you want to find could also be in another cell. So I'm going to say find the letter Y in which text. So I'm clicking on the name there. You'll see there's an optional third parameter, which is start number. So if you don't want to start looking from the start, you can say character 5, and it'll only start looking for it in character 5. But for now I will leave that out. So that will give me 2. So Y is the second character in this list. Also something to note is this is case sensitive. If I make this a capital Y, you'll see it doesn't find it. So what you're looking for needs to be in the same case, so uppercase or lowercase. So that's how the find works. Something else I want to show you here is if I look for the letter E, I will find it at character 4. So you will see there's 3 letters E in this name. So this find will bring you the first character. So this, if I say the first E is in 4, this would be an example of where you could use the second or the third parameter, where you say look from character 5, and now you see I'm not looking in the first 5 characters, but then character E is starting from the count from the first again, character 7. So that's how you can find second and third and fourth occurrences of a character. So that's what find does. The next thing I want to show you here is the LEN function, the length function. So if I type in LEN, and here's just the one input of text, and I close the brackets, you'll get the length of this text. And if you remember previously from our right function, we got something unexpected, and this also shows it up. If you counted these characters, you will notice that there are actually 11 characters and not 13. And this is something that happens a lot if you get data from somewhere else, a database, or you've somehow put this data together in a manual fashion. If I click on this Carl Peters and click on the actual formula bar here, you will notice here at the end there are actually 2 spaces, which is why we get 13 and not 11. So the next function we're going to look at is called trim. So if I say trim, if I trim this text now, you'll see in this final answer you've taken out the spaces either the beginning at the end of that text. So if I now get the length of this, you'll get 11, which you expected. So first I trim down the text, which will remove the spaces at the beginning and the end, and then I get the length of that, which is 11. The next function I want to show you in this first introduction is the text formula. The text formula will format any cell input into a text field and then also apply formatting to it if you want to. You can use any Excel formatting if you want to, but in this case I'm going to use one specific example. It's very useful for dates. That's why I've got the date here. So it's text, and then it says what value do you want to get a text value of. So I'll take the date, and then it asks you for formatting. So this is something you can look up in Google of how to format text in Excel, but I'll show you this one example where in double quotes I'm going to put 4 letters D, which is the long day format. I'm closing the brackets and I close that, and that will show you that the 20th of June was a Saturday. If I make this 21, you'll see it changes to Sunday. So this is a very convenient formula to get the day of the week. So this was a very quick introduction, and those formulas might not seem as useful on their own. So now we can actually look at the application of these formulas. So what we have here is a standard invoice number that comes out of a system and the date it happened. So if you look carefully at the text here, the first 3 characters just indicates that it's an invoice. Then there's one letter, it's either A or a B, which will give you the system the invoice came from, and the last 5 characters is the invoice number. So now this is where you can apply the formulas we've learned so far. So if I say here, this is equal to the left of this text, comma 3, which is the first 3 characters, you'll see if I click there and fill it down, you'll get invoices. The number is the right, so this is equal to right of the same text, but this time there are 5 numbers. So if I click on 5 and close the brackets, I will get the actual invoice number, and if I drag this down, you'll get invoice number right through. If I want to figure out what system this came out, I'll use the mid formula, and in the mid of this, and I want to start at character number 4, and I want to bring back only one character, which is the letter A or B. And then there you can see whether something kind of one system or the other one. And the last thing I want to show you here is if you have invoice like this, again, to find which day of the week these invoices were posted at, I can just say get me the text of the date field, comma, and then in double quotes I put 4 Ds, and there you get the day of the week. If I drag it down, and there you go. So this is a simple application of the formulas. This is for standardized text, but in practice, as you know, things are not quite as simple and clear cut. So this is a more complex example. So what I have here is a customer, which includes the name and the surname, and they are of variable lengths. So you can see obviously this is a very long name and this is a very short name. So this is where we need to make the formulas a little bit more complicated to separate out the name and the surname. So what I've done here in column B to F is just putting the bolding blocks. So this will be a simple way for you to write the formulas. Once we're done, we'll combine those formulas, and in column H and I we'll have only one formula to get you the name and one formula to get you the surname. So the first step is quite simple. We want to get the length of this text, so we get the length of the text. So this will give you the length of all the full names, name and surname included. Then what separates the name from the surname is the first occurrence of the space character. Even in a name like this with multiple pieces in the surname, the first space character is what separates the name from the surname. So what we'll type in here is find, and in double quotes I'll make a space, and I'm looking into the text field, and those characters there will give you the position of the space character. So to find the surname now is quite simple. It is the right of this text, and the amount of characters is the total length minus the space value. And there you go, the surname, and if you drag it down you'll always get the surname, it doesn't matter what length it is. So to get the name is a little bit more complicated. So first I will get the length of the surname. So the surname we calculated just now, which is in column D, so just get the length of the surname, and if I drag it down I get the length of all the surnames right through. So the name is now left of this text. So the left is the total length of the customer less the length of the surname, and because the total includes a space character, I must subtract one more character from that, and there you get the names Alex, L, Johannes, and so on. So this is doing the formula in pieces. So now what we're going to do now is get the name and the surname in one formula. So let's start with the surname. First, the way I select the formula over, I select in the formula bar, Control C, press Escape, go to the surname and paste, Control V, and press Enter. What this did is whatever the exact text is in there, he just moved it into there, and now if I drag this down, I'll still get the surname. But now this is still dependent on these two columns, so now we'll fix that next. So first we have B2. So B2's formula is this. So I'm just selecting the formula without the equal sign, Control C, and press Escape. And here where we have B2 now, I'm going to paste that piece of the formula in, press Enter, and drag it down, and the answer is still the same. But if you click on the formula bar, you'll see this time it does not depend on B2 anymore. The next thing it depends on is C2. So if I press Escape here, go to C2. Again, I copy the formula without the equal sign, press Escape, go into here, and where I see C2 now, I select C2 and paste my other formula over that, and press Enter, and drag it down, and you'll see you still get the answer, but this time it doesn't have any other dependency on any other columns. Writing formulas like this could be a bit daunting if you try and write it from scratch, so I suggest this method of writing it into separate columns and then bring it into one formula. So let's do the name next. First we start with the name formula. I'll copy that, put it into the name here, and I must just put the equal sign there, and there's the names. Now let's see how we can simplify this formula or consolidate it into one formula. So first of all, it's going to look at B2. So press Escape, go to B2, copy that and put that in where I saw B2, and drag that down, and the name didn't change, so that's all working. So the next thing it depends on is E2. So here we have E2. So I'm copying this and putting it where I saw E2. Press enter. So if I drag this down, it still works. We are not quite done yet, because all we did in the last step is just move it from one column to the next. So now we still have to get D2's value. D2 is the surname, which is why I did the surname first. So now we need this whole formula except this equal sign. Go back here, and where you see D2, I'm going to paste that formula, press enter, and there we saw the whole name and surname. If you click on this formula, you will see it is quite a complicated formula, and the only way I myself could do it is by typing it out this way. Trying to type this formula from scratch would be almost impossible, but it is not so complicated if you do it step by step. So this is a way of separating text, in this case a name and surname, where you have variable lengths of string and they're not all exactly the same length. The last simple thing I want to show you is when you have text. In this case we have an address split into 3 pieces. So we have a street number, a street, and a town. So the formula is called concatenate. So if I press equal and type concatenate, there you see it. Then you just select this field, so that's that field, comma, this field, comma, this field. And you can go on if you have multiple fields. Let me just retype that. Concatenate. So it's the first field, comma, the second field, comma, the third field, and I close the brackets. So here you can see it did combine them, but now everything is right on top of each other. So what I do is between the fields, I just put a double quote, space, double quote, and an extra comma. So what this did is introduced a new artificial field, which is just a space. So I'm copying that and also doing it after the second piece here. And now if I drag it down, you have these addresses as one field. You can also introduce something else. Maybe in this space you can also put a comma so that the town or city is in a separate position indicated by a comma, and there you can have addresses combined using the concatenate formula. Another shorthand way of doing this in Excel is by typing equal, typing the first and then the ampersand or the and sign. I'll put in the space character in between double quotes, put in the ampersand sign again, put in the next field, ampersand, and the last field there. So this formula is another way of doing what I just did with the concatenate formula. So depending on what you are comfortable with, and also depending on how long the formula is, if it's 1 or 2 fields, I usually use this method. If it's quite a long list, I'll use the concatenate formula, where I can simply select the different fields. So these are the simple text functions in Excel, and it will help you a lot in working with text data, either taking text fields apart or putting them back together. Hi, this is Anton from the Data Developer channel. If you've liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up below and subscribing to the channel. And thank you for watching.